Fandoms, leading source of salt, cancer, and white men getting cursed. This is an analysis showing the problems with fandoms and how many show examples of where they went wrong. This is going to be a video on how some cartoons by Disney are so insanely obsessed over and horribly sexualized by their according fandoms. However, this is every fanbase, so let's begin. Let's start with probably the most well-known of all these fanbases for the reasons I like to remember and those I would care to erase.
Kiss on the lips. You're not going anywhere, Brandon!
The fact that someone would do this to themselves voluntarily makes me happy Dan Harmon is waiting a year before the next season. Fanbase there is a high, and I mean high, amount of cringe being produced at a rapid rate. The cringe is so insane, in fact, that these people even think that they're intellectually smarter than the rest of society because they sympathize with Rick. What? Dan Harmon even went on stating that Rick was supposed to be a very bad role model. To have such a cynical lifestyle that you compare yourself that closely to Rick does not show you're an intellectual. It shows you are an utter douchebag. Another note, considering the cringe was ultimately the thing that caused people to turn away from the show, it was only created because of the oversaturation that allowed for people like
I'm really violent because I just played Tetris
to actually notice the show. Today, you can find just about anything Rick and Morty. Here we go. Supreme shirts, action figures, beer, hats, Monopoly, Pump Funkos, entire crate packages, phone cases, shot glasses, pro gun replicas, meme jackets, socks, fanny packs, card games, pickles in jars, overly serious memes, some more Pop Funkos, tote bags, unhealthy amount of crossover, pants, Christmas sweaters, bracelets, purses, toy cars, real cars, massive paintings, and finally the most normie meme to ever be made.
I'm Pickle Rick!
But you may ask yourself, how'd all this lead to cringe? Walking Dead does the exact same thing, but there's nearly no cringe there. Well, 2 words. Hot topic. It's not hard realizing how these kind of people found out about the show when you're selling merch at a store like that. Now, on to the next fandom. The plague of iFunny, one of the pinnacle things that brought the site down to where it is now. Steven fucking Universe. I like how Russ's version of the show gives Ruby a mustache, because Spoon basically just says, fuck you. Fandom's conspiracy. Like any good detective, I went to the heart. Amino, as their saying goes, for liberals by hardworking liberals. Also kind of ironic that their name is amino because amino acids are what help make your body what it is. For example, your biological gender. So I started creating an account by putting in my birthday, September 12th, year 1. Then to fool those feckers so no one knows me, I put in a fake name. No one will ever tell the similarities. I then made my profile picture an epic emotional shot of ukulele so everyone knows how emotional and edgy I am. Turn on notifications? Hell no. I spent hours searching through the awfully colorful website. Then I found it, highlighted without the beloved mustache. 230,000. Jesus Christ. And now here we go. Into the jungle. It first welcomes me with a fan-made character. This is gonna be just great. Then politely asked me to follow every creator. It took me a few seconds to find the no button. First thing I did on the website is check in. Then asked me to pick a card. And I got 2 amino coins. I may not have a sponsor, but I'm rich now anyway. Afterwards, I started scrolling. And then I started thinking, where's Steven, the main character of the show? Whilst maybe excused due to the high amount of fan-made characters, is still odd. You soon start to realize that Steven is never highlighted within this fandom. The main fucking character, who probably has one of the most stacked developments of any cartoon character in modern day, is very loosely, if never highlighted within this fandom. And for the love of God, he is the name of the show. So I found a discussion room and joined it to hunt the truth. Asking this very interesting question, making sure to blend in using the word I got an alert. I got a follower. With my newfound fame and waiting for a response, I decided to post some of my old art, just so I can appear like I've been in this fandom for a while. I really hope they like it. I've been told by someone, who I will say very well worded, and I give absolute appreciation to you, Steven, basically, to sum it up, is just not as engaging. You can look at this 2 ways, both equally interesting. The first part, Steven is a human, something we are recognizable to, familiar with, while the rest of the characters are rock aliens, something that will never be real, no matter how bad you want your fantasies to be met, and that can contribute to a lesser traffic toward his character. Part 2 is a little bit more harsh. Steven is a white, presumably straight boy, while on the other hand, Garnet is the embodiment of a lesbian relationship. And sadly, because the high SJW traffic within this dystopia, the more appealing characters to their lifestyle are highlighted. There's nothing wrong with this, if it is done in moderation. Hell, even a little bit excessive wouldn't be that bad, but yeah. This isn't modern. It's the only thing that is on there, and well, because of this, Steven has inadvertently become one of the most gender-bent characters out of any cartoon, except for maybe Marco, but I'll get to that in a bit. While the show in of itself is an agenda-driven piece of media, that doesn't excuse the fandom of then ignoring every other lesson and story that can also be observed from the show. That's all the time I got for this fandom. Time for the next. As I start this, I have to say Cuphead is one of my favorite games ever made, and no way is this criticizing the actual game, just there's way too much Bendy x Cuphead and Cupcest. The trend I can really clearly see from this is the sense of creative drought. Most of these drawings and creative endeavors are not exactly new ideas. They almost all derive from the same details in the game and or the exact same horny desires of all the people that make the fan fictions. The assumed reason for these kind of people collectively grouping into this area is a lack of creative newness. Cuphead was such a new and original idea that it became an instant cult classic, played by just about every YouTuber who would engage in video games.
Fucking whores!
These people who suffer from a drought of creativity wanted to indulge in a new IP, but inadvertently didn't handle it in the best of ways. Thus, we have the Cuphead community today. You know what it's like when you obsess over something so much that you end up making a live dance for a crowd of people in relation to that obsession? No? Well, I didn't think anyone would until I found the people who like the children's cartoon Miraculous Ladybug.
Живо собери у них талисманы.
These people are batshit crazy over this show. The amount of art, fanfic, comics, and all the above is insane. But the part that kind of frightens me is the very common occurrence to stumble across lewdish photos of these characters like it's nothing. Many cartoons have an excuse for this because they act as both entertainment for adults and kids, but Miraculous is very clearly only made for kids. The people who obsess over the show treat it as if every detail of every episode is crisp and perfect. However, like everything else, it is really not. As shown by this stupid scene, it has been analyzed to the point where you could be saying it's an allegory to sexual assault. And some of the writing isn't the best, because it's a kid's show. The main problem I have with the writing is that they always excuse Adrian from not showing his face while he's in his cat noir form while addressing Ladybug by saying he is showering, while we all know by now that the French don't fucking bathe. What do you think she is, Adrian? Nose deaf? That she can't tell that you always smell like body odor mixed with your sweaty BDSM cat suit? I'll get to this one quickly. The fandom is messed up because of two words. Rule 34. If you don't know what that is, I would suggest looking it up. Out of any fandom, there is none with more art of this variety than Star vs. the Force of Evil. I'm not sure what this is caused by because no one in the show is that sexualized, except for maybe Jackie, but for her, I ain't complaining. I personally find the whole situation with Rule 34 mostly ironically funny because I deeply enjoy the show, so why not laugh at some crazy boys making lewds of the characters? I was laughing though, until something really started appearing more often than it should. Let me learn you a little something about Between Friends. It's a fan comic, over 100 pages, of the two main characters just having a good time. The art is absolutely on point too, and I know that this would have taken this man an absolutely massive amount of time to make. But this isn't just something you find on a hentai website or something. You can find almost every page right from Google Images, and the comic even reached #1 on Wattpad under the Star vs. the Force of Evil tag. So in the end, through thick and through, fanbase are one of life's many mysteries. I don't have much to say other than stay safe on the internet. While collective groups can be a wonderful thing, make your own opinions, your own decisions, and in doing so become not just a good person, but someone you can be looked up to. And that, my friends, is the greatest fandom to ever exist. Let's make a theory on Ruby actually being a male. This is really testing the waters at this point, and someone fucking doxed me.